The cash was still warm. Selena Brooks stared at the envelope on her kitchen counter, crisp $100 bills fanned out like accusation, and felt her stomach twist into knots she couldn't name. 3 months' rent. In advance. Cash. From a girl who'd shown up 6 weeks ago with 2 garbage bags of thrift store clothes and holes in her sneakers. Something is very wrong here. Hey beautiful souls. Welcome back to the channel, or if this is your first time finding us, hello and I'm so glad you're here. I'm dropping a story today that's going to take you on a wild ride through secrets, sacrifice, and the kind of friendship that changes everything. Before we dive in, do me a favor, drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. Are you team early morning story with coffee, or late night can't sleep crew? And listen, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are we doing? Hit that subscribe button because you don't want to miss how this unfolds. Trust me on this one. Now, let's get into it. Selena's hands trembled as she touched the money. It was 11:47 p.m. on a Thursday, and she'd come downstairs for water, just water, nothing more, when she'd found the envelope propped against the sugar jar with her name written across it in Ivy's careful, elegant handwriting. Selena, for rent. Thank you for everything. The house was silent except for the hum of the ancient refrigerator and the tick-tick-tick of her mother's old wall clock. Upstairs, Ivy's bedroom door was closed, a sliver of light visible underneath. The girl was probably studying. She was always studying, hunched over textbooks at the kitchen table, her face pinched with concentration, surviving on instant ramen and black coffee. A broke college student. That's what Ivy Thorne had been when she'd responded to Selena's Craigslist ad 8 weeks ago. Soft-spoken, desperate, with eyes that held too many secrets for someone barely 22. She'd stood on Selena's sagging porch in jeans worn thin at the knees, gripping a backpack like it was the only thing tethering her to earth. I can clean, Ivy had said, her voice barely above a whisper. I'm quiet. I really need a place to stay. Selena had recognized that look. Desperation. The kind that came from running out of options. So she'd said yes. She'd said yes because the foreclosure notice was burning a hole in her desk drawer upstairs, giving her 45 days to come up with $8,000 or lose her mother's house. The house where Mama had raised her, where every creaking floorboard held a memory, where the jasmine Mama planted still bloomed by the kitchen window each spring. She'd said yes because she needed the money. But this? Selena counted the bills again. $1,800. Exactly. Ivy's rent was $600 a month. Where does a college girl eating 25-cent ramen get $1,800 in cash? The possibilities crawled through Selena's mind like spiders, each one worse than the last. Drugs. Stolen. Some rich married man. A sugar daddy situation that would end with Selena's house on the news as a crime scene. Lord, what did I bring into my home? She'd been so careful. Background check, clean. References, 2 professors, both glowing. Student ID, legit, from the state university across town. Ivy Thorne was enrolled as a junior, transfer student, majoring in art history. Everything had checked out. So why did this feel like the moment before everything fell apart? Selena grabbed her phone, then stopped. And told Ivy what? Hey, thanks for paying rent early, but you're too poor for this, so I don't trust you anymore? The girl had been nothing but respectful. Helpful even. She'd fixed the garbage disposal last week with a YouTube tutorial and a screwdriver. She'd helped Selena repaint the porch. She'd sat with Selena at 2 a.m. 3 weeks ago when the anniversary of Mama's death hit like a freight train, making tea and listening without judgment. Ivy had become something close to family. Which made this envelope feel like betrayal. Selena's phone buzzed. A text from her older brother, Devin. Devin, bank called again. They're serious, so you need to figure this out. Her chest tightened. 45 days. She had 45 days to save this house, and she was $4,300 short even with Ivy's rent. She'd picked up extra shifts at the hospital where she worked as a nurse, sold Mama's jewelry, the pieces that weren't precious heirlooms, applied for loans she'd been rejected from. Nothing was enough. And now her tenant, her broke, ramen-eating, hole-in-her-shoes tenant, had just casually dropped $1,800 like it was nothing. A floorboard creaked upstairs. Selena's breath caught. She shoved the money back into the envelope and stood frozen in her kitchen, heart hammering, suddenly aware of how alone she was. How vulnerable. Devon lived 40 minutes away. Her neighbors, the Johnsons on the left, the Patels on the right, they were good people, but they were also asleep at midnight on a Thursday. If Ivy was dangerous, stop it. You're being paranoid. But she couldn't stop the questions multiplying in her mind like bacteria under a microscope. Who was Ivy Thorne really? Why did a girl with this kind of money need to rent a room in a dying neighborhood on the east side, where gunshots popped off every few nights and the grocery store had bars on the windows? Why the thrift store clothes, the defeated posture, the way she flinched every time a car backfired? Why was she hiding? And from what? Selena looked at the envelope again. At her name, written in Ivy's careful hand. Then she heard it. Crying. Soft, muffled, coming from upstairs. The kind of crying someone did into a pillow, trying desperately not to be heard. Selena's nurse instincts kicked in before her suspicion could stop her. She moved to the stairs, envelope still clutched in her hand, and climbed slowly, avoiding the third step that always groaned, the seventh that creaked. Ivy's door was closed, but the crying was clearer now. Broken. Selena raised her hand to knock, then hesitated. On the other side of that door was either a girl who needed help, or the biggest mistake Selena had ever made. Because someone was nice to me once when I had nothing, Selena said quietly. My mama. She taught me that kindness isn't something you give because people deserve it. It's something you give because you're human. She left before Ivy could see her own tears forming. Downstairs, Selena made chamomile tea she didn't drink and stared at the envelope still sitting on the counter. Her phone buzzed. Devon again. Devon, you still up? Selena. Devon, call me. She dialed. Devon picked up on the first ring. You sound stressed, he said without preamble. That was Devon, blunt, protective, always cutting straight to the bone. I'm fine. Lie. What's wrong? Selena glanced at the ceiling, toward Ivy's room. My tenant's hiding something. Dangerous? I don't think so. Just lost. Devon sighed. So, you can't save everyone. You know that, right? You couldn't save Mama. You can't save every broken bird that lands on your porch. The words stung because they were true. Selena had worked herself to exhaustion during Mama's final months, researching treatments, begging doctors, praying to a God who seemed to have stopped listening. None of it mattered. Cancer didn't care about love. This is different, Selena said. Is it? Or are you just trying to fill a hole that can't be filled? Don't shrink me, Devon. You're an accountant, not a therapist. I'm your brother. And I'm worried about you. His voice softened. How short are you? For the house. Selena's throat tightened. 4,300. Jesus, sell. I'll figure it out. Let me help. I can probably scrape together. No. Selena's voice turned firm. You've got Keisha and the twins to think about. I'm not taking money from your kids' college fund. Then what's the plan? I don't know yet. But God didn't bring me this far to leave me. Devon was quiet for a moment. Then, Mama used to say that. I know. You sound just like her. Selena smiled through tears. Good. After they hung up, Selena sat in the kitchen that still smelled faintly of Mama's cooking, ghost scents of Sunday pot roast and peach cobbler that probably only existed in her memory. This house was more than wood and nails. It was legacy. It was proof that a black woman who'd started with nothing could build something lasting, something real. Mama had scrubbed floors and taken night shifts and sacrificed everything to buy this house 30 years ago. Selena would die before she let a bank take it, even if it meant trusting a tenant with secrets that might burn them both. The man in the Mercedes showed up on Saturday. Selena was on her knees in the front garden, pulling weeds from around Mama's jasmine, when the black car slid up to the curb like a shark. Expensive. Completely wrong for this neighborhood where most people drove decade-old Hondas or took the bus. The engine purred to silence. The door opened, and out stepped someone who looked like he'd wandered off a movie set. Early 30s. Custom suit that probably cost more than Selena's car. Dark hair swept back from a face that was handsome in that sharp, calculated way, like he knew exactly how attractive he was and used it as a weapon. He looked at Selena's house with barely concealed disdain. Then he looked at Selena. "Can I help you?" she asked, not bothering to stand. She'd learned a long time ago that some men needed to understand you weren't impressed by their peacocking. "I'm looking for someone." His voice was smooth. Rich boy accent. The kind that came from private schools and country clubs. A young woman. Early 20s. About 5'6", dark blonde hair, blue eyes. She might be going by Ivy. Every alarm bell in Selena's body started ringing. "Don't know anyone like that," she lied smoothly, going back to her weeding. "Really?" He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Because I have information suggesting she's renting a room at this address." "Your information's wrong." "Is it?" He took a step onto her property. "Uninvited. Because I've been looking for Ivy for 6 weeks. And I'm very, very good at finding people who don't want to be found." Selena stood slowly, pulling off her gardening gloves. She was 5'4" in her bare feet, at least 6 inches shorter than this man, but she'd grown up in this neighborhood. She'd faced down crackheads in the ER at 3 a.m. She wasn't about to be intimidated on her own lawn. "This is private property," she said quietly. "And unless you've got a warrant, you need to leave." "I don't need a warrant. I'm not police." His smile widened. "I'm family." Selena's blood ran cold. Before she could respond, she heard it. The front door opening. Footsteps on the porch. "Ivy, no. Stay inside." But Ivy was already there, frozen in the doorway, her face drained of all color. "Hello, Ivy." The man's voice turned soft. Almost gentle. "Your father's been worried sick." Ivy's hands gripped the doorframe so hard her knuckles went white. "How did you find me?" "You used your real first name." "Sloppy." He tilted his head. "And you favorited an art gallery on Instagram. The algorithm did the rest. You should really be more careful about your digital footprint." "I have nothing to say to you, Christopher." Christopher. The name landed like a stone in Selena's stomach. This was the fiancé. The one Ivy had run from. "You don't have to say anything," Christopher replied. "Just pack your things. Your father wants you home. The wedding's been postponed, but we can still." "There's no wedding." Ivy's voice shook but held firm. "I told you. I told everyone. I'm not marrying you." "You're upset. I understand. But this little rebellion has gone on long enough." Christopher's tone shifted, harder now. "You've made your point. Now it's time to come home and stop embarrassing your family." "My family?" Ivy laughed, sharp and bitter. "You mean my father? The man who's controlled every second of my life since I was born? Who chose my schools, my friends, my major, my future husband?" Her voice cracked. "I'm not going back." Christopher's jaw tightened. For the first time, Selena saw something ugly flash across his face. Something mean. "You think you can just walk away?" he said. "You think Daddy's money doesn't come with strings? Every credit card, frozen. Your trust fund, inaccessible until you're 25, and only if you comply with the family terms. You have nothing, Ivy. No money. No connections. No future except what we give you. Then I'll build my own future." "As what?" "Living in this." He gestured dismissively at Selena's house. "This dump? Working minimum wage jobs? You've never had to struggle a day in your life. You won't last a month." That's when Selena stepped between them. "I think she asked you to leave," Selena said, her voice nurse calm. The tone she used before calling security. Christopher looked at her like he'd forgotten she existed. "This is a family matter. It doesn't concern you. She's living in my house. That makes it my concern." "Your house?" Christopher actually laughed. "I did some research while I was tracking Ivy down. This property is 60 days from foreclosure. You're drowning in debt. So let's not pretend you're protecting her out of goodness of your heart. What is she paying you? Whatever it is, I'll triple it. Just tell me when she comes and goes." The casual cruelty of it, the assumption that everything, everyone, had a price, made Selena's vision blur red. "Get property. Or what?" Christopher's mask slipped completely. You'll call the police? I have lawyers that will bury you in paperwork before you can blink. I have friends in the mayor's office, the police department, the DA. You're nobody. He pointed at Ivy. She's Ivy Thorne. Her father owns half this city. And you're trash that doesn't know when you're outmatched. The world seemed to slow down. Ivy Thorne. The name crashed into Selena's brain like a wrecking ball. Beaumont Industries. The billionaire family that owned the hospital where Selena worked, 3 downtown skyscrapers, the new stadium, oh God. Her tenant wasn't just rich. She was Beaumont rich. Ivy must have seen the recognition on Selena's face because she made a small, broken sound. Selena, I can explain. But Selena couldn't process that yet. Because Christopher was still standing there with his smug expression, and something in Selena snapped. I don't care if her father owns the whole damn state, Selena said, her voice dropping to something dangerous. I don't care if you have every lawyer in the city on speed dial. That girl said no. And on my property, in my house, no means no. So you've got 10 seconds to get back in your overpriced car before I forget I'm a Christian woman. Christopher's eyes narrowed. You're making a mistake. Maybe. But it's my mistake to make. Now move. For a moment, she thought he might actually get physical. His hands clenched. His jaw worked. Then he smiled. Cold. Calculating. Fine. Have it your way. He pulled out a business card, set it on the porch railing. When reality sets in and you realize you're protecting a spoiled little girl who's playing poor, call me. The offer stands. Triple whatever she's paying you. He walked back to his Mercedes, unhurried, unconcerned. Before getting in, he called back, Ivy? Your father says he loves you. And he'll do whatever it takes to bring you home. Whatever it takes. It wasn't a message of love. It was a threat. The car pulled away, smooth and silent. Selena and Ivy stood frozen, one on the lawn, one on the porch, the space between them suddenly filled with lies and secrets that had just detonated. Beaumont, Selena said quietly, turning to face her tenant. You're a Beaumont. Ivy's eyes swam with tears. I was going to tell you. When your fiancé showed up? When the paparazzi did? When your billionaire father decided to buy my house out from under me? Selena heard her voice rising and couldn't stop it. I asked you if you were in danger. You said no. I didn't think they'd find me. You lied to me. The words exploded out of Selena. 8 weeks of trust, of treating this girl like family, of opening her home and her heart, and it was all built on lies. I let you into my mother's house. I let you sleep in my mother's bed. And you lied to my face. I'm sorry. Sorry. Selena laughed, harsh and jagged. Baby, sorry doesn't cut it when you just brought a billionaire's attention to my doorstep. You think your father can't take this house from me? You think he won't, if it means getting you back? She saw the truth in Ivy's face. The horror. The realization that her hiding might cost Selena everything. I'll leave, Ivy whispered. Right now. I'll pack and I'll leave and I'll make sure they know you didn't know anything. Where will you go? I don't know. Somewhere. Anywhere. I'll figure it out. Selena closed her eyes. Pressed her palms against her temples. Every rational thought said let her go. Cut the cord before this got worse. Before the Beaumont family decided Selena was an accomplice or a kidnapper or just an obstacle to eliminate. But she saw Ivy's face, young and terrified and so desperately alone. And she heard Mama's voice. Kindness isn't something you give because people deserve it. Damn it, Selena breathed. She opened her eyes. Ivy stood there with tears streaming down her face, already broken, already defeated. And Selena made the choice that would change everything. You're not going anywhere, Selena said. Ivy blinked. What? I said you're not going anywhere. Selena climbed the porch steps until she was eye level with the girl. But no more lies. No more secrets. You want to stay in my house? Then I need to know everything. Who your father is. Why you're running. What we're up against. Selena, you don't understand what you're. I understand that boy just threatened you on my lawn, Selena cut her off. I understand that you're scared. And I understand that whatever your last name is, You're still the girl who fixed my garbage disposal and made me tea when I was crying at 2 a.m. So we're going to go inside. You're going to tell me the whole truth. And then we're going to figure this out together. Why? Ivy's voice broke. Why would you risk everything for me? Selena thought about Mama. About this house. About 45 days and $4,300 and the impossible weight of trying to save something precious. About a scared girl who just had her last hiding place ripped away. Because that's what family does, Selena said simply. Now get inside before the whole neighborhood starts asking questions. They sat at the kitchen table, the same table where Mama used to serve Sunday dinner, where Selena had done her homework as a kid, where every important conversation in this house had happened. And Ivy Thorne told Selena Brooks everything. Ivy's father was Lawrence Beaumont. Not just a billionaire. The billionaire. The man whose face appeared on Forbes covers, whose company had built half the infrastructure in 3 states, whose political donations could make or break elections. And Ivy was his only child. He wasn't always like this, Ivy said, her hands wrapped around a mug of tea she wasn't drinking. When Mom was alive, he was different. Still controlling, but there was warmth underneath. She balanced him out. When did you lose her? Selena asked gently. 5 years ago. Car accident. Ivy's voice went flat. After that, Dad just calcified. Every soft part of him turned to stone. I became a project, an asset. Something to manage and control. Selena listened, her nurse instincts cataloging the micro-expressions, the tells. This wasn't a spoiled rich girl playing at poverty. This was trauma, deep and unhealed. He chose Christopher, Ivy continued. 2 years ago. Told me at dinner one night that he'd arranged an understanding with the Thorne family. Christopher's father owns a tech empire. The merger of our families would be, quote, strategically optimal. And you? I said no. Of course I said no. Ivy laughed bitterly. I was 20. I'd never even been on a real date because Dad controlled everything. My security team, my social circle, my every move. And he expected me to just agree to marry a stranger. But you didn't. I fought for 2 years. Argued. Pleaded. Begged him to see me as a person and not a chess piece. Ivy's hands trembled. He wouldn't budge. Every conversation ended the same way. You'll understand when you're older. This is what's best for the family. You'll learn to love him. Selena's jaw clenched. She'd seen this before, different income brackets, same cage. 3 months ago, Dad set a wedding date. June 14th. Sent out save the dates without asking me. Started planning this massive society wedding. Ivy's voice cracked. Christopher started talking about children. About how many heirs we'd need. Like I was a broodmare. So you ran. I ran. Ivy met Selena's eyes. I took cash I'd been hiding for months. Bought a bus ticket. Cut my hair. Changed my last name on everything I could. I thought if I could just disappear for a while, prove I could survive on my own, maybe Dad would finally see me as a person instead of property. How'd you end up here? Bus went as far as my cash would take me. I saw your ad. The room was cheap, the neighborhood was nowhere Dad would think to look, and you? Ivy smiled sadly. You looked kind. In your profile picture. You had your mom's arm around you. And I needed kind. Something in Selena's chest cracked open. This girl. This terrified, broken girl had chosen her house because of a picture of Mama. The money you've been using, Selena said. The jewelry you've been selling? Pieces Mom left me. Things small enough to hide when I ran. I've been selling them online, using fake names and P.O. boxes. Ivy pulled out her phone, showed Selena the listings. Estate jewelry. Each piece worth thousands. I know it's not sustainable. Eventually I'll run out. But I just needed time. Space to figure out who I am when I'm not Lawrence Beaumont's daughter. Selena studied the listings. Then Ivy. Then the young woman sitting at her kitchen table who'd somehow become family in 8 short weeks. Christopher finding you, Selena said carefully. That Instagram thing. That was real. Ivy nodded miserably. I made a new account. Didn't use my real name. but I favorited a gallery that showed one of Mom's favorite artists. I just wanted to feel close to her. And that was enough. She looked up, eyes red. I'm so sorry, Selena. I never meant to bring this to your door. I'll leave tonight. Oh. Stop. Selena held up a hand. We already had this conversation. You're staying. But your house is my problem, not yours. Selena, you don't understand what my father's capable of. If he thinks you're helping me hide, he'll destroy you. He'll take this house, your job, everything. Let him try. Ivy stared at her. Why are you doing this? Selena was quiet for a long moment. Then, you know what the bank said when I tried to get an extension on the foreclosure? They said my mother should have been more financially responsible. Like working 3 jobs and still dying in medical debt was a character flaw. She met Ivy's eyes. Your father's type, the Lawrence Beaumonts of the world, they think everything has a price. Everyone can be bought or threatened into compliance. And maybe they're usually right. But not today. Selena's voice turned to iron. Today, I'm choosing to be the wall between a scared young woman and the people who think they own her. Because if I won't, who will? Ivy's face crumpled. She reached across the table and grabbed Selena's hand. Thank you. God, thank you. Don't thank me yet, Selena said grimly. We need a plan. Because Christopher showing up means your father knows the general area. It's only a matter of time before. The doorbell rang. Both women froze. You expecting someone? Ivy whispered. No. Selena stood slowly, moved to the window, peered out. A woman stood on the porch. Late 50s, silver hair in a sleek bob, designer clothes that screamed money. Behind her, a black SUV idled at the curb. You know her? Selena asked. Ivy looked and went white. That's Margaret Jackie. My father's. I don't know. Fixer? Handler? She manages his PR, his problems, her breath caught. She's here to negotiate. For what? For me. The doorbell rang again. Longer this time. Insistent. Selena looked at Ivy. You want me to send her away? She won't leave. Margaret doesn't leave until she gets what she came for. Ivy stood on shaking legs. Let me talk to her. Alone. Maybe I can convince her to tell Dad I'm fine and... Absolutely not. Selena's voice cut sharp. We do this together or not at all. Selena. Together. That's the deal. Ivy swallowed hard. Nodded. Selena opened the door. Margaret Jackie's smile was professional. Practiced. The kind that never reached the eyes. Ms. Brooks. I'm Margaret Jackie, representing the Beaumont family. May I come in? Depends. You planning to threaten me like your colleague Christopher did? Margaret's smile didn't waver. Christopher Thorne is young and emotional. I'm neither. I'm here to propose a mutually beneficial arrangement. I'm listening. May I? Margaret gestured inside. Selena stepped aside. Margaret entered like she owned the place, her eyes cataloging everything. The worn furniture, the outdated fixtures, the foreclosure notice Selena had stupidly left on the hall table. Ivy, Margaret said warmly, like greeting an old friend. You look well. Thinner, but well. What do you want, Margaret? To help. Margaret sat uninvited on Selena's couch. Your father is beside himself. He's hired 3 investigative firms, called in favors from senators, barely slept since you disappeared. He loves you, Ivy. He has a funny way of showing it. He's not a warm man. We both know that. But his intentions are good. He wants to protect you, provide for you. Control me, Ivy interrupted. Margaret tilted her head. Is control such a terrible thing when it comes with security? Safety? A life most people can only dream of. If it's not my life? Yes. I see. Margaret's gaze slid to Selena. And you found a champion in Ms. Brooks. How touching. The words dripped condescension. Tell me, Ms. Brooks, what exactly is your stake in this family drama? Human decency, Selena said flatly. Margaret pulled out a folder. The Beaumont family would like to express their gratitude for sheltering Ivy during her episode. As a token of appreciation, We're prepared to offer you $50,000. Enough to save this house and then some. Selena's heart stopped. $50,000. The foreclosure solved. Mama's house saved. Security for the first time in 2 years. All she had to do was... In exchange, Margaret continued smoothly, you simply facilitate Ivy's return home. Today, we have a car waiting. The transition can be smooth and cordial, and everyone wins. Ivy made a small, broken sound. Selena looked at her. At this young woman who'd fixed her garbage disposal and made her tea and slept in Mama's bed and become something like a daughter over 8 short weeks. Then she looked at Margaret Jackie and her folder and her $50,000 bribe. No, Selena said. Margaret blinked. I'm sorry. I said no. Get out of my house. Ms. Brooks, perhaps you didn't understand the offer? I understood fine. You want to buy Ivy like a piece of property. And you think I'm broke enough to sell her? Selena stood. You're right about one thing. I'm broke. I'm about to lose everything my mother built. But I'm not so desperate that I'll trade a human being for cash. So take your blood money and leave. Margaret's pleasant mask finally slipped. You're making a serious mistake. Story of my life. But at least I'll sleep at night. Will you? When the bank takes this house. When you're evicted and homeless and Ivy goes back to her family anyway because she has nowhere else to run. Margaret stood, her voice turning cold. You can't save her, Ms. Brooks. All you can do is delay the inevitable while destroying yourself in the process. Maybe, but that's my choice. Margaret looked between them, Selena standing firm, Ivy trembling but hopeful, and something like frustration crossed her face. Lawrence Beaumont is not a patient man, Margaret said quietly. And he's not accustomed to hearing the word no. If you continue to harbor his daughter, he will view you as a hostile actor. And when Lawrence views you as hostile, he doesn't negotiate. He eliminates obstacles. Is that a threat? It's a forecast. Margaret moved toward the door, then paused. Ivy, your father asked me to tell you something. He said your mother would be ashamed of this behavior. Of you living in squalor, hiding like a criminal, destroying the family name she died protecting. Ivy flinched like she'd been slapped. And something in Selena ignited. Out, Selena growled. Before I forget I'm a nurse and remember I grew up in this neighborhood. Margaret smiled thinly. You've been warned. Both of you. She left. The SUV pulled away. And Selena closed the door on $50,000 and the last easy way out. You should have taken it, Ivy whispered. God, Selena, you should have taken the money. Probably. I'm not worth your house. I'm not worth. Selena turned and grabbed Ivy's shoulders. Listen to me. That woman, your father, they've spent your whole life telling you that you're only valuable as a commodity. As something to trade and leverage and control. So let me be crystal clear. You are worth more than money. You are worth more than this house. You are a human being with rights and choices and dreams, and nobody gets to take that from you. Not your father. Not Christopher. Not Margaret Jackie. Nobody. You understand me? Ivy nodded, tears streaming. Good. Selena pulled her into a hug. Now we make a real plan. Because Margaret was right about one thing, your father's not going to stop. So we need to get smart. How? Selena pulled back, thinking. Her mind raced through options, discarding most as quickly as they formed. We need leverage, she said finally. Right now, your father holds all the cards. Money, power, connections. We need something he wants more than control. There's nothing he wants more than control. Then we make him want something else. Selena grabbed her phone. What's the one thing that would destroy a billionaire's reputation? Ivy's eyes widened. You want to threaten him? Selena, he'll bury you. Not threaten. Expose. You said he's hiding things. Bad press. The way he's treating you, that's not a good look for a man who depends on public image, right? He controls the media in this city. Local media, maybe. But what about national? Social media? Selena's mind clicked into place. We tell your story. The truth. A billionaire forcing his daughter into an arranged marriage. Threatening her when she runs. You go public, it becomes harder for him to strong-arm you back. He'll say I'm lying, that I'm mentally unstable. Maybe, but people love an underdog story. And a young woman fighting for her freedom against a controlling billionaire father? That's a story that spreads. Ivy looked torn between hope and terror. Could work, or it could make everything worse. It could, Selena admitted. But right now, we're on defense. And defense loses eventually. We need to make a move. Before Ivy could respond, Selena's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Unknown, Ms. Brooks. This is Lawrence Beaumont. We need to talk. Tomorrow. 10 a.m. The address below. Come alone, or I'll assume you're hostile. And you don't want to be my enemy. An address followed. Beaumont Tower. The Lion's Den. Selena showed Ivy the text. Don't go, Ivy breathed. Please. He'll threaten you, bribe you, destroy you. Or, Selena said slowly, I look him in the eye and tell him the same thing I told Margaret. His daughter isn't property. And he doesn't get to buy her back. Selena. I'm going. Selena's voice was final. But not alone. He said. I know what he said. But he's not the only one who can play games. Selena's mind was already moving. I'm going to bring an insurance policy. What kind of insurance? Selena smiled grimly. The kind that makes billionaires nervous. The kind called witnesses. That night, Selena made 3 phone calls. First, to her brother Devin. I need you to trust me and not ask questions yet. Second, to her best friend Keisha from the hospital. Remember how you said you owed me for covering your shifts last month? Third, to a number she'd been avoiding for weeks. A reporter from the local news who'd been trying to interview nurses about hospital conditions. I don't have a story about the hospital, Selena said when the reporter answered. But I have something better. You interested in a story about Lawrence Beaumont? The reporter was very interested. By midnight, Selena had a plan. It was risky, possibly insane, likely to blow up in her face. But it was better than sitting in her house waiting for a billionaire to crush her. Beside her at the kitchen table, Ivy looked terrified and awed in equal measure. You know you're basically declaring war on the most powerful man in the state, Ivy said. Yep. And you're doing it for someone you've known for 2 months. Yep. You're either the bravest person I've ever met or the craziest. Selena smiled. Can't it be both? For the first time since Christopher had shown up on the lawn, Ivy laughed. Real and genuine. And Selena felt something click into place. A certainty. This girl, this scared, strong, broken, brave girl, was family now. And Selena Brooks protected family. No matter the cost. Beaumont Tower stood 73 floors of glass and steel against the downtown skyline, a monument to wealth and power that made Selena feel small the moment she stepped out of her 15-year-old Toyota. She dressed carefully. Her best work slacks. A blazer Mama had bought her for nursing school graduation. Sensible flats. Professional but not trying too hard. She needed Lawrence Beaumont to see her as a person, not an obstacle or a charity case. Devin had wanted to come with her. So had Keisha. But Selena had a different plan. The reporter, Nina Caldwell from Channel 7, was positioned in a coffee shop across the street with a camera operator. Not to film the meeting. Selena wasn't stupid enough to try that. But as insurance. If Selena didn't text within 90 minutes, Nina would run a story. A small one, just enough to put Lawrence on notice that Selena wasn't unprotected. It was a thin safety net. But it was something. The lobby was all marble and intimidation. The receptionist looked at Selena like she'd wandered in from the street, which, to be fair, she had. Selena Brooks, Selena said firmly. For Lawrence Beaumont. 10M. The receptionist's expression shifted to surprise, then cool professionalism. 70th floor. You'll be met at the elevator. The elevator ride lasted an eternity. Selena watched the numbers climb and tried to steady her breathing. Nurse calm. She'd walked into gang shootings and overdoses and COVID wards. She could handle one billionaire. The doors opened. A young man in an expensive suit waited. Ms. Brooks. This way. He led her through a corridor of floor-to-ceiling windows that showed the city sprawling below like Lawrence Beaumont owned it. Which, Selena realized, he kind of did. They stopped at a set of double doors. Heavy wood. Old money. "Mr. Beaumont is expecting you," the assistant said, and opened the doors. The office was the size of Selena's entire first floor. One wall was entirely glass, offering a view that probably cost more per square foot than most people's homes. The other walls held art that Selena recognized from Mama's coffee table books. Real art. Museum quality. And behind a desk that looked like it weighed more than Selena's car sat Lawrence Beaumont. He was smaller than she'd expected. Not short, but normal-sized. Late 50s, silver threading through dark hair, wearing a suit that probably cost 5 figures. His face was harder to read, distinguished, controlled, giving nothing away. "Ms. Brooks." He stood, gestured to a chair. "Thank you for coming." "Let's skip the pleasantries," Selena said, remaining standing. "You threaten me. I'm here. What do you want?" Something flickered in his eyes. Approval? Amusement? Direct. "I appreciate that." He sat back down. "I want my daughter back. And I want to understand what exactly you think you're doing." "Giving her a choice. Something you seem allergic to." "A choice." Lawrence said the word like it tasted bitter. "She's 22 years old. Brilliant but naive. She has no concept of the dangers in the world, the people who would exploit her, hurt her. Like her fiancé? Christopher Thorne is from a good family. Christopher Thorne is a controlling jackass who talked about heirs like Ivy was livestock," Selena cut in. "You were there for those conversations?" Lawrence's jaw tightened. The marriage would secure Ivy's future. Financial stability. Social position. Protection. A cage is still a cage even if it's gold-plated. "And your house?" Lawrence leaned forward. "That's freedom? A collapsing structure in a dangerous neighborhood where my daughter has to eat ramen and sell her mother's jewelry to survive. It's her choice. That's the difference." "Her choice." Lawrence laughed, sharp and bitter. "You know what her choice got her mother? Dead." The words landed like a punch. Selena blinked. "Excuse me?" Lawrence stood, walked to the window, his back to her. For a long moment, he was silent. "Ivy told you her mother died in a car accident," he finally said. "Yes. That's true. What she doesn't know is why." He turned back. "My wife, Rebecca, she was brilliant, creative, free-spirited, everything I'm not. And she hated the security measures I put in place. The guards. The protocols. She said I was being paranoid. Controlling." Selena's stomach nodded. "For our anniversary," Lawrence continued, voice hollow, "she insisted on driving herself to a surprise she'd planned. Refused to take the security detail. Said she wanted one normal evening. One night where she wasn't treated like a prisoner." His hands clenched. "She was T-boned by a drunk driver at an intersection. Died on impact." "I'm sorry," Selena said quietly. "If she'd had security with her, they would have taken a different route. The driver would have spotted the drunk driver earlier. She'd be alive." Lawrence's voice cracked, just slightly. "Her choice, her need for freedom, killed her. And now Ivy is making the same choices. Running from protection. Hiding in dangerous places. Refusing to see that freedom without security is just another word for vulnerability." Selena felt the ground shift under her feet. This wasn't a controlling tyrant. This was a terrified father who'd watched his wife die and was desperately trying to prevent history from repeating. "Mr. Beaumont." "Lawrence." "Lawrence." Selena took a breath. "I understand you're scared. But wrapping Ivy in bubble wrap won't bring your wife back. It'll just make Ivy resent you. Better resentful and alive than free and dead." "Is it? Because from where I'm standing, you've already lost her. She ran from you. She's terrified of you. Whatever relationship you had is already dead." Lawrence flinched. Selena pressed forward, gentler now. "You want to protect her. I get it. But you can't protect someone into loving you. You can only push them further away." "And your solution is what? Let her live in poverty? Pretend she's not in danger?" My solution is let her make her own choices. Be there when she falls. Guide her. Don't cage her. Easy words from someone who's never lost anyone. My mother died 2 years ago, Selena said quietly. Cancer. I watched her waste away for 8 months. Tried everything to save her. Nothing worked. So don't tell me I don't understand loss. Lawrence studied her. Really looked at her for the first time. The house, he said. The foreclosure. How much do you need? Don't change the subject. I'm not. I'm trying to understand your stake in this. Lawrence pulled out his phone, tapped something. $4,300. That's what you're short. I could write that check right now. Save your mother's house. All you have to do is convince Ivy to come home. There was the bribe. Wrapped in understanding instead of threats, but still a bribe. No, Selena said. Why not? You get what you want. I get what I want. Ivy comes home to safety and security. Ivy doesn't want to come home. That's the part you keep missing. She's 22 and scared and she's an adult. Selena's voice turned firm. You can't force her. And even if you could, you'd lose her forever. Is that what you want? To win the battle and lose the war? Lawrence sat heavily in his chair. For the first time, he looked old. Tired. I don't know what else to do, he said quietly. Every protective measure I put in place, she sees as control. Every boundary I set, she sees as a cage. How do I keep her safe when she's determined to run from me? You start by listening. Really listening. Not to what you think she needs. To what she's actually saying. And what is she saying? That she wants to be seen. No. Treated like a person instead of a project. Selena sat down finally. You chose her fiancé. Her major. Her life. When did you last ask her what she wanted? Lawrence was quiet for a long time. I don't know. Then maybe that's where you start. Before Lawrence could respond, his desk phone buzzed. He frowned, pressed the intercom. I said no interruptions. Sir, I'm sorry, but there's a situation. His assistant's voice was strained. Channel 7 is downstairs. They're asking about Ivy. And there's something online. It's going viral. Selena's blood went cold. Lawrence's eyes snapped to her. What did you do? Nothing. I swear. Lawrence was already pulling up his computer, typing rapidly. His face went white. He turned the screen to face Selena. It was a Twitter thread. Posted 20 minutes ago. Already at 50,000 retweets. At Ivy Thorne. Time to tell my truth. A thread about growing up as Lawrence Beaumont's daughter, and why I ran. Below it, a series of posts. Ivy's story. All of it. The arranged marriage. The control. Christopher's threats. Running away. And photos. Ivy at Selena's house. Ivy looking thin and scared. Screenshots of texts from Christopher and Margaret. The final post. At Ivy Thorne. I'm not coming home. Not until my father sees me as a daughter instead of property. Not until I get to choose my own life. This is my line in the sand. Oh God, Selena breathed. She wasn't supposed to. You planned this. Lawrence's voice was deadly quiet. You came here to distract me while she went public. No. I suggested going public, but not like this. Not without. Selena grabbed her phone. 7 missed calls from Ivy. 3 from Devon. 12 texts. The most recent text from Ivy, sent 10 minutes ago. Ivy, I'm sorry. I know we were supposed to wait. But Margaret showed up again and I couldn't keep hiding. I had to do something. I'm safe. I promise. But I had to tell the truth. Selena looked up at Lawrence. His face had gone from white to red, fury building like a storm. You brought a reporter into this, he said, each word clipped. You orchestrated a media circus. You turned my daughter into a headline. I didn't. Get out. Lawrence's voice cracked like thunder. Get out of my office before I have security throw you out. Lawrence, please. You wanted to help her? You just destroyed her. Lawrence was shaking now. Every outlet in the country will be hunting her. Paparazzi. Tabloids. People who will exploit her, stalk her, put her in real danger. And you self-righteous, naive. He stopped himself, breathing hard. You have no idea what you've done. Selena stood on trembling legs. I was trying to give her leverage. You gave her a target on her back. Lawrence pressed his intercom. Security. Escort Ms. Brooks out. And get the legal team on the phone. Now. 2 security guards appeared at the door. Selena backed away, her mind reeling. Lawrence. If anything happens to my daughter, Lawrence said quietly, I will hold you personally responsible. And I will destroy you so completely you'll wish you'd never been born. Are we clear? Selena's voice came out small. Crystal. The guards led her to the elevator. Down 70 floors in silence. Out through a lobby that was suddenly swarming with reporters who'd gotten wind of the story. Ms. Brooks. Are you harboring Ivy Beaumont? Did you know she was a billionaire's daughter? Is it true Lawrence Beaumont threatened you? Selena pushed through them, head down, heart hammering. She made it to her car. Locked the doors. Grabbed her phone. Called Ivy. It went straight to voicemail. Ivy, Selena said, her voice shaking. Baby, where are you? Call me back. Please. Whatever's happening, we'll figure it out. Just call me. She tried Devin. He picked up on the first ring. Sel, what the hell is going on? Ivy's trending on Twitter. There are news vans on your street. What? You need to get home. It's a circus. Selena started the car with trembling hands and pulled into traffic. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Unknown, you should have taken the money. Now you get nothing but ashes. MC. Margaret Jackie. Another text. This one from the bank. First National, final notice. Payment due in 14 days or foreclosure proceedings will accelerate. No further extensions will be granted. 14 days. They'd cut her deadline by a month. Selena's hands tightened on the steering wheel. What had she done? She tried to help. Tried to give Ivy a voice and leverage. And instead she'd started a war that neither of them could win. By the time Selena got home, there were 4 news vans on her street and at least 20 people with cameras and microphones crowding her lawn. She parked 2 blocks away and called Devin. I can't get to my house, she said. I know. I'm watching the live feed. Sel, they're camped out. This is national news now. CNN just picked it up. Selena closed her eyes. Where's Ivy? I don't know. She's not at the house. Her phone's off. Selena, what the hell happened? I made a mistake, Selena whispered. A really, really big mistake. Come to my place. Keisha's already here. We'll figure this out. Selena drove to Devin's house in a daze, the radio cycling through news reports about the runaway billionaire heiress and the nurse who'd been hiding her. Some outlets painted Selena as a hero. Others suggested she was exploiting Ivy. A few hinted at something darker: kidnapping, extortion, opportunism. By the time she pulled into Devin's driveway, Selena felt like she was drowning. Devin met her at the door and pulled her into a hug. We'll fix this. How? Selena's voice broke. I've lost Ivy. I've probably lost my house. And Lawrence Beaumont wants me dead. You haven't lost Ivy, a voice said from behind Devin. Selena looked up. Ivy stood in Devin's living room, still wearing the same jeans and t-shirt from this morning, her face pale but determined. I'm right here, Ivy said. And I'm not going anywhere. Relief and fury crashed through Selena in equal measure. What were you thinking? We had a plan. The plan was too slow. Ivy stepped forward. Margaret showed up again after you left. She had papers. Legal documents to have me declared mentally incompetent. My father was going to have me committed, Selena. Involuntarily hospitalized until I came to my senses. Selena's blood turned to ice. What? I had to do something. Going public was the only way to make it impossible for him to hide me in some private facility. Ivy's voice shook but held. I had to tell the truth before he could control the narrative. You could have waited. We could have. There was no time. Ivy's composure cracked. You don't know him like I do. He wasn't going to negotiate. He was going to eliminate the problem. And the problem was me having any freedom at all. Selena pulled Ivy into a hug. The girl collapsed against her, shaking. "I'm sorry," Ivy whispered. "I'm so sorry. I never meant to make everything worse." "I know, baby. I know." Behind them, Devon cleared his throat. "So what now? Because from where I'm standing, you've both kicked a hornet's nest and the hornets are pissed." Keisha appeared from the kitchen with tea nobody would drink. "The good news is public sympathy is on Ivy's side. Hashtag Free Ivy is trending. People are calling Lawrence Beaumont a tyrant." "The bad news?" Selena asked. "The bad news is that doesn't actually solve anything," Keisha said gently. "Public opinion doesn't stop foreclosures. It doesn't give Ivy access to her money. And it doesn't stop Lawrence from coming after both of you with everything he's got." Selena's phone buzzed. Another unknown number. She almost didn't answer. But something made her pick up. "Ms. Brooks." Lawrence Beaumont's voice was different now. Tired. Defeated. "Is she with you?" Selena looked at Ivy. The girl nodded. "She's safe," Selena said. "Thank God." Lawrence's voice cracked. "The incompetency papers? I didn't know. That was Margaret, working with Christopher's family. I found out 20 minutes ago and fired her. I would never do that to Ivy." Selena's world tilted again. "You didn't know?" "I knew she was working on legal options. I thought she meant emancipation reversal or trust fund restrictions." Not that." He sounded sick. "Can I talk to her? Please?" Selena held out the phone to Ivy. "It's your father." Ivy took the phone like it might explode. "Dad." Selena couldn't hear Lawrence's side, but she watched Ivy's face cycle through emotions, anger, pain, confusion, hope. "I don't know if I can trust you," Ivy finally said. "You've controlled me my whole life." The pause. "I know you're scared, but so am I. I'm terrified of becoming mom. Of being so sheltered that I can't function in the real world." Another pause. Longer this time. "What if we talk?" Ivy said slowly. "Really talk? With a mediator? A therapist? Someone neutral?" Ivy listened. Then her eyes widened. She looked at Selena. "Dad wants to know if you'd be willing to mediate," Ivy said. He says you're the only person who's told him the truth in 5 years. And he respects that." Every eye in the room turned to Selena. Selena thought about her house. The foreclosure. The news vans and the Twitter storm and everything spiraling out of control. She thought about Mama, who'd always said the most important thing you could do was show up for people when they needed you. And she thought about the scared girl who'd shown up at her door 8 weeks ago, and the terrified father who'd just lost control of everything. "Yeah," Selena said. "I'll do it." "Okay fam, I need to know, do you think Lawrence is being genuine or is this another manipulation? Drop your theories in the comments because this story is about to take some turns. And if you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Click that button. The mediation was set for Thursday afternoon at a neutral location, a family therapist's office that Devon had found, run by a woman named Dr. Patricia Moss who specialized in high-conflict family dynamics. The 3 days between the phone call and the meeting were the longest of Selena's life. The news vans eventually left her street, but the damage was done. Her neighbors looked at her differently now, some with suspicion, others with pity. Mrs. Johnson from next door actually crossed the street to avoid her. The Patels wouldn't make eye contact. Work was worse. Selena's supervisor called her into the office Monday morning. "We need to discuss your situation," Karen said, her voice professionally neutral in a way that made Selena's stomach drop. "My situation? You're all over the news. Harboring a billionaire's daughter. The hospital's PR department has received dozens of calls. Some outlets are suggesting you manipulated a vulnerable young woman for money." "That's not what happened." "I believe you," Karen said. "But it doesn't matter what I believe. The hospital is concerned about optics. Beaumont Industries is one of our largest donors. Lawrence Beaumont personally funded the new cardiac wing." Selena's blood turned cold. "You're firing me." "Not firing. Administrative leave. Until this resolves itself." "That's just firing with extra steps." Karen at least had the grace to look uncomfortable. I'm sorry, Selena. I really am. But my hands are tied. The board made the call. Selena left the hospital in a daze. 8 years. She'd worked there for 8 years. Through the pandemic. Through Mama's death. Through everything. Gone in one meeting. She sat in her car in the parking lot and called the bank. I need to speak to someone about my foreclosure timeline, she said when they answered. I was told I had 14 days, but I'm requesting an extension. I'm sorry, Ms. Brooks. Your file has been flagged. No extensions will be granted. Flagged? What does that mean? I can't discuss the details. You'll need to speak with our legal department. They transferred her. She waited on hold for 20 minutes before hanging up. Someone had pressured the bank. Selena knew it in her bones. Either Lawrence or Christopher or someone in the Beaumont orbit had made a call, pulled strings, ensured that Selena's lifeline was cut. By the time she got back to Devon's house, she still couldn't go home with reporters occasionally staking out her property. She was shaking with exhaustion and fear. Ivy took one look at her and knew. What happened? Selena told her. All of it. The administrative leave. The bank. The neighbors. This is my fault, Ivy whispered. Everything you're losing is because of me. It's not. It is. Ivy stood, started pacing. I brought this to your door. I should have left the second Christopher showed up. I should have. Stop. Selena grabbed her shoulders. We've been through this. I made my choices. Eyes open. But you didn't know it would cost you everything. I knew it might. I chose you anyway. Ivy's eyes filled with tears. Why? Because that's what love looks like, Selena said simply. Showing up even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. They held each other in Devon's guest room, two women who'd become family in the wreckage of their individual storms. And Selena prayed that Thursday's mediation would be the turning point they desperately needed. Dr. Patricia Moss's office was in a converted Victorian house on the east side, all calm colors and soft furniture designed to make people feel safe enough to be vulnerable. Selena and Ivy arrived first. Then Lawrence, alone, without the entourage Selena had expected. He looked smaller somehow. Less billionaire, more exhausted father. Thank you for coming, he said quietly. Ivy nodded but didn't speak. Dr. Moss was a black woman in her 60s with kind eyes and a no-nonsense energy that reminded Selena of Mama. She laid out the ground rules. Everyone speaks without interruption. Focus on feelings, not accusations. The goal is understanding, not winning. Lawrence went first. I've spent 5 years terrified, he said, his voice raw. Every time the phone rings late at night, I think it's the call. The one that says Ivy's been hurt. Kidnapped. Because that's what happened to Rebecca. One moment of freedom and she was gone. Ivy flinched but stayed quiet. I know I've been controlling, Lawrence continued. But I genuinely believed I was protecting you. Christopher, the marriage, I thought I was giving you security. A partner who understood our world. Someone who could protect you when I'm gone. Christopher doesn't love me, Ivy said quietly. He loves the Beaumont name. The access. The power. I know that now. Lawrence looked broken. I was so focused on safety I didn't see the cage I was building. I'm sorry, Ivy. I'm so sorry. It was the most honest Selena had ever heard him. Ivy was crying now. I don't want to lose you, Dad. But I can't live like a prisoner. I can't marry someone I don't love. I can't spend my whole life being afraid to make choices. I know. And I'm willing to work on that. Therapy. Communication. Loosening the reins. Lawrence leaned forward. But I need you safe. Can we find a middle ground? Security that doesn't feel like imprisonment? Some compromise? For the first time, Selena felt hope bloom in her chest. This could work. They could actually. The office door burst open. Christopher Thorne stood there, flanked by 2 men in suits. Behind them, another man with a camera. What the hell? Lawrence stood. How did you? Patricia Moss's secretary is very helpful when properly motivated, Christopher said smoothly. He turned to Ivy. This has gone on long enough. You've had your tantrum. Made your point. Now it's time to come home. Get out. Lawrence's voice turned to ice. You're not welcome here. Actually, I have every right to be here. Christopher pulled out papers. These are from my family's attorneys. A breach of contract suit against you, Lawrence, for violating the terms of our business merger, which was contingent on the marriage proceeding. The marriage is off, Ivy said. I never agreed. You signed papers at the engagement party, Christopher interrupted. Papers that constitute a binding agreement. My lawyers are prepared to argue that your father's failure to deliver on the marriage constitutes fraud. Selena's legal knowledge was limited, but that sounded like bullshit. You can't force someone into marriage. No, but I can sue for damages when a business agreement is violated. Christopher smiled. We're asking for $200 million. Plus, I'm prepared to go public with some very interesting information about the Beaumont family financials. Tax issues. Offshore accounts. Things that would be very uncomfortable if they became public. Lawrence went white. You're blackmailing me. I'm protecting my family's interests. Just like you've always done. Christopher turned to Ivy. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to come with me. We're going to release a statement saying this was all a misunderstanding. The wedding will proceed as planned. And everyone wins. No, Ivy said. No. Christopher's mask slipped. You don't get to say no. You're in breach of contract. Your father's business is about to implode. And your little nurse friend, he looked at Selena with contempt, is about to lose everything. Her house. Her job. I've already made sure of that. Selena felt the floor drop out from under her. You. The bank. The hospital. It's amazing what a few phone calls can accomplish. Christopher shrugged. I gave you a chance to take the money and walk away. You chose wrong. You son of a... Lawrence started forward, but the suited men blocked him. Careful, Christopher said. Remember, I have evidence that could put you in front of a grand jury. So let's all be civilized. Dr. Moss finally found her voice. I'm calling the police. This is... Go ahead. By the time they arrive, we'll be gone. Christopher held out his hand to Ivy. Come on. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. Ivy looked at her father. At Selena. At the wreckage of everything they tried to build. And Selena saw the moment Ivy made her choice. Okay, Ivy said quietly. I'll go with you. No, Selena started. It's the only way, Ivy said, her voice eerily calm. He'll destroy Dad. He'll take your house. This is my mess. I have to fix it. Ivy, don't do this. Smart girl, Christopher said. Get your things. I don't have any things here. Ivy stood. Let's just go. Ivy. Lawrence's voice broke. Please. We'll fight him. Legally. I have resources. And he has evidence that could destroy you. Ivy's eyes were dry now. I won't let that happen. I won't let Selena lose everything because of me. This is the right choice. It's not a choice if you're being coerced, Selena said desperately. It's still my choice. Ivy walked to Selena, pulled her into a hug, whispered in her ear, thank you. For everything. For seeing me. You saved my life, even if this is how it ends. This isn't how it ends. But Christopher was already pulling Ivy toward the door. We'll release a statement tonight, Christopher said over his shoulder. Reconciliation. Love conquering all. I'm sure you'll both play along, unless you want the alternative. Lawrence lunged for them, but the suited men blocked him again. And then they were gone. Ivy disappeared into a black SUV that peeled away from the curb before anyone could react. Selena stood frozen in Dr. Moss's office, her heart shattered into pieces she couldn't count. Lawrence was on his phone immediately. I need security at Christopher Thorne's residence. No, I don't care if it's legal. He knows I'll try that. He'll have taken her somewhere else. He hung up, looking 10 years older than when he'd walked in. She's gone, he said hollowly. My daughter is gone and I can't. His voice broke. I don't know how to get her back. Selena's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Unknown. Don't try to find her. Don't contact the media. Don't do anything or the deal's off and everyone loses. She's mine now. See, Christopher. Another text. This one from the bank. First National, foreclosure proceedings initiated. You have 72 hours to vacate the property. Selena's legs gave out. She sat heavily in Dr. Moss's chair. Everything. She'd lost everything. And Ivy, brave, broken Ivy, had sacrificed herself to stop the bleeding. Dr. Moss was talking about police, lawyers, options. But her voice sounded far away, like Selena was underwater. Lawrence sat beside her. Two people who tried to save one young woman and failed spectacularly. I should have taken the money, Selena whispered. When Margaret offered, I should have taken it and run. No. Lawrence's voice was firm. You did the right thing. The brave thing. This isn't your fault. Then whose fault is it? Because Ivy's gone. My house is gone. My job is gone. And for what? Lawrence didn't have an answer. They sat in silence, two people in the wreckage of the best intentions. Selena went back to Devon's house in a fog. Keisha was there, having taken off work. She took one look at Selena's face and pulled her into a hug. What happened? Selena told her. Everything. Christopher. The blackmail. Ivy leaving. That's kidnapping, Keisha said. He can't just. She went willingly. On camera. Selena felt hollow. He made sure of that. No legal recourse. There has to be something. There isn't. Selena's voice came out flat. She's gone. It's over. Her phone rang. Devon. I'm at your house, he said without preamble. Sel, they're boarding it up. The bank's already here with a crew. I have 72 hours. Apparently that got accelerated. They're saying you abandoned the property, which triggered an immediate foreclosure clause. I didn't abandon it. I've been staying away because of the media. I know. But they have paperwork. Legal justification. Selena, if you have anything in there you want to save, you need to come now. They're giving me 20 minutes to grab essentials. Selena closed her eyes. Even the small mercy of time to pack her mother's things was being taken. I'm coming, she said. She drove to her house, Mama's house, for what would be the last time. The bank's crew was already there. A supervisor with a clipboard. Workers with plywood and drills. Devon had grabbed what he could. Photo albums. Mama's Bible. The cross-stitch that said love covers a multitude of sins. But the furniture would stay. The kitchen table where she and Ivy had drunk tea and talked about everything. The bed Mama died in. The jasmine in the garden. All of it. Gone. Selena stood on the sidewalk and watched strangers board up the windows of her childhood home. And she felt something inside her break that she wasn't sure could ever be fixed. Her phone buzzed one more time. A text from Ivy's number. Ivy, I'm okay. Don't worry about me. Christopher's taking me back to his family's estate. The wedding's in 2 weeks. I'm sorry, Selena. For everything. You deserved better than this. Please take care of yourself. And know that you gave me something no one else ever did. You saw me as a person. I'll never forget that. Goodbye. Selena read it 3 times. Then she called the number. Disconnected. Ivy was gone. The house was gone. Everything was gone. And Selena Brooks, who'd spent her whole life fighting to save people, finally understood what it felt like to lose completely. That night, Selena lay on Devon's couch and stared at the ceiling. Keisha had gone home to her family. Devon was upstairs with his wife and twins, giving Selena space. She should sleep. She should eat. She should do something other than lie here feeling like she'd been hollowed out. But she couldn't move. Her phone buzzed. She almost ignored it. But something made her look. A text from Lawrence Beaumont. Lawrence, I know you've lost everything. I know this seems hopeless. But I'm not giving up on my daughter. And I hope you won't either. We need to talk. Tomorrow. Please. Selena stared at the message. What was left to talk about? Ivy was gone. Christopher had won. The story was over. But something in those words, I'm not giving up on my daughter, sparked something small in Selena's chest. Not hope. Not yet. But maybe the memory of what hope felt like. Selena, where and when? The response came immediately. Lawrence, my house. 9 a.m. Come alone. I have a plan. It's risky and possibly illegal. But I think it's the only way to save her. Are you in? Selena looked around Devon's living room. At the boxes holding the remnants of her life. At the future that had collapsed into rubble. She had nothing left to lose. Selena, I'm in. Lawrence Beaumont's house wasn't what Selena expected. She'd imagined something ostentatious. A mansion with marble columns and gold fixtures. The kind of place that screamed wealth. Instead, it was a large but understated colonial in an old-money neighborhood. Brick and ivy. Mature trees. A garden that looked loved rather than professionally maintained. It looked like a home. Lawrence answered the door himself. No butler. No staff visible. Just a tired man in jeans and a sweater who looked like he hadn't slept in days. Thank you for coming, he said, stepping aside. The interior was the same, tasteful, comfortable, lived in. Family photos covered the mantel. Selena recognized a younger Ivy in several, always with a beautiful woman who had to be her mother. Rebecca. Coffee? Lawrence offered. Please. They sat in his kitchen, a space that reminded Selena achingly of Mama's, full of worn cookbooks and small touches that spoke of actual cooking, not just designer appliances, and Lawrence slid a file folder across the table. This is everything I've gathered on Christopher Thorne in the last 72 hours, he said. When I decided to arrange the marriage, I did my due diligence. Background checks. Financial records. It all looked clean. But I wasn't looking for the right things. And now I'm looking for leverage. Lawrence opened the folder. Christopher's family wealth is mostly legitimate. Tech patents. Investments. But there's a subsidiary company that's been flagged by the SEC twice for potential securities violations. Nothing ever stuck, but the smoke suggests fire. Selena scanned the documents. Financial jargon she mostly didn't understand, but the highlighted sections told a story: questionable stock trades, insider information, money moving through shell corporations. This proves he's dirty, she said. It suggests it. But it's not enough to get Ivy back. The SEC investigations went nowhere. Christopher's lawyers are too good. Lawrence pulled out another document. But this morning, I got a call from an interesting source. A former employee of the Thorne family. Someone Christopher fired 6 months ago. What did they say? That Christopher has a pattern. This isn't his first arranged marriage attempt. 5 years ago, there was another young woman. Daughter of a Singapore shipping magnate. Similar setup, merger dependent on marriage. She also tried to back out. Selena's blood ran cold. What happened to her? She married him. Had the wedding, smiled for cameras. Filed for divorce 9 months later citing abuse. Settled quietly with an NDA. The employee, his former assistant, witnessed some of what happened. The control. The isolation. The psychological torture. Why didn't she go public? $20 million settlement with a clause that if she ever spoke about the marriage, she'd owe triple that back plus legal fees. Lawrence's jaw clenched. Christopher bought her silence. And he'll do the same to Ivy. Selena felt sick. Can we contact this other woman? Get her to talk. She's terrified. I tried. My lawyers tried. She won't risk it. Lawrence leaned forward. But the assistant will talk. She kept records. Emails. Calendar entries. Photos. She's willing to go on record about what she witnessed. That's good. It's not enough. Lawrence's voice turned frustrated. It proves Christopher is abusive and manipulative. But Ivy went with him willingly. On camera. Unless we can prove she's being held against her will right now, there's no legal avenue to intervene. Selena slumped in her chair. So what's the plan you mentioned? Because from where I'm sitting, we're still stuck. Lawrence was quiet for a moment. Then, we go get her. Excuse me? Ivy's at the Thorne family estate. It's a compound about 2 hours north of here. Private. Gated. Security everywhere. Lawrence pulled up photos on his tablet. Aerial shots of a sprawling property. But I know someone who did the security installation. And I know someone else who did the landscaping. Between my resources and some creative thinking, we can get inside. You're talking about breaking in. Selena's voice came out flat with disbelief. To a billionaire's compound. To extract your adult daughter who went there willingly. Yes. That's insane. Probably. We'd be arrested. Prosecuted. You could lose everything. I've already lost everything that matters. Lawrence's voice broke. My daughter is with a man who will isolate her, break her down, and trap her in a marriage that will destroy her. Just like he did to someone else. And I have the resources and the connections to stop it. So yes, I'm talking about doing something illegal and insane. The question is, are you with me? Selena stared at him. This man who'd seemed so controlled, so by the book, was proposing a felony rescue mission. It was crazy. Reckless. Possibly the worst idea she'd ever heard. When? She asked. Lawrence blinked. You're in. That girl saved herself for me when Christopher had her. She sacrificed her freedom to protect me and you. I'm not leaving her in that house. Selena's voice turned to steel. So yes, I'm in. When do we go? A smile, real and grateful, crossed Lawrence's face. Tonight. The wedding's in 12 days. Every day she's there, Christopher's people are working on her, convincing her she has no choice. We need to move fast. What do we need? Lawrence pulled out a map. I have a security consultant who owes me a favor. He's already identified 3 potential entry points. But we need someone on the inside. Someone who can confirm Ivy's exact location and whether she's being watched. How do we get someone inside? We don't. Lawrence looked up. Ivy does. He opened his laptop, pulled up an email. Sent less than an hour ago, from an anonymous account. From email protected. To lawrence.beaumont@beaumontindustries.com. Subject, Room 3B. Dad, they're watching my phone. This is a burner email from Christopher's assistant's laptop. I'm in the East Wing, 3rd floor, Room 3B. 2 guards outside 24/7. They're calling it protection but it's imprisonment. Wedding planning all day tomorrow, 9 to 5. That's when security will be lightest in the East Wing. I don't know if you can do anything. I don't know if you should try. But if there's a chance, please. I can't marry him. I won't survive it. But Selena's heart clenched. She's asking us to come. She's giving us intelligence. Location. Timing. A window. Lawrence's eyes blazed with determination. My daughter is smart. She's scared but she's fighting. And we're going to get her out. What about Christopher's evidence? The blackmail material on your business? Lawrence smiled grimly. I called his bluff. Had my own forensic accountants tear apart my financials. The offshore accounts? Legal tax structures, all documented. The questionable transactions? Legitimate with paper trails. Christopher was counting on me being too scared to look closely. But there's nothing there. He was bluffing. And the lawsuit? The breach of contract. Let him try. My lawyers are salivating at the chance to argue that a marriage agreement isn't legally enforceable. We'll bury him in motions. Lawrence's expression hardened. I was scared of scandal. A bad press. But you know what's worse than scandal? Losing my daughter to a monster because I was too worried about my reputation. Selena felt something unfurl in her chest. Real, fragile hope. Okay, she said. What's the plan? They spent the next 6 hours planning. Lawrence's security consultant, a former Navy SEAL named John, can't use that name, a former Navy SEAL named Jake Rodriguez, arrived at noon with equipment and expertise. This is nuts, Jake said after Lawrence explained. You know that, right? Breaking into a secure compound to extract someone who's legally free to be there. Aware, Lawrence said. Are you in? Hell yes. Christopher Thorne's a piece of shit and everyone knows it. I'm in. Jake spread out blueprints of the estate. Okay, here's what we're working with. The Thorne compound had 3 entry points, main gate, service entrance, and a spot on the north perimeter where the fence met a drainage creek. The creek was their best bet. No cameras, minimal patrols, only a 12-foot fence between them and the property. We go in at 2 p.m. tomorrow, Jake explained. Middle of the afternoon. Security's focused on the main house where the wedding planning's happening. East Wing will have minimal coverage. What about the guards outside Ivy's room? Selena asked. That's where you come in. Jake looked at her. Lawrence can't approach the house. Too recognizable. But you? You're nobody to them. Just a nurse who got caught up in Ivy's drama. So what? I walk up and ask to see her? You walk up as a representative from a wedding vendor. Dress-fitting emergency. We create a fake company, fake credentials. Christopher's people are expecting vendor traffic all day. You'll blend in. And once I'm in? You get to Ivy's room. Tell the guards there's been a change. The dress designer needs her downstairs immediately. Private fitting because of media concerns. You move fast, confident, like you belong there. They'll verify it. They'll try. That's where we jam their communications for exactly 90 seconds. Long enough for confusion but short enough they won't panic and lock down. Jake pointed to a spot on the map. You get Ivy to the service entrance here. Lawrence and I will have a vehicle waiting. We grab her and go. What about cameras? I've got a guy who can loop the feed. For about 3 minutes we can make it look like nothing's happening while you're actually moving. Selena's heart hammered. This is really happening. This is really happening, Lawrence confirmed. But Selena, I need you to know the risks. If this goes wrong, you could be arrested. Charged with kidnapping. Your life would be over. My life is already over, Selena said quietly. I lost my job, my house, everything I had. But Ivy? She still has a chance. So yes, I'm in. Lawrence reached across the table and squeezed her hand. Thank you. For not giving up on her. Family doesn't give up, Selena said simply. That evening, Devin cornered Selena in the guest room. Keisha told me you were at Lawrence Beaumont's house all day, he said. What's going on? Selena looked at her brother. Honest, rule-following Devin who'd never broken a law in his life. I can't tell you, she said. Sel. I mean it. If something goes wrong, I don't want you implicated. Just trust me. And if you don't hear from me for a few days, don't panic. Devin's eyes widened. What are you planning? Something stupid and necessary. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I can give you. Selena hugged him. I love you. Take care of Keisha and the twins. And know that whatever happens next, I'm making the choice I can live with. You're scaring me. But I'm terrified too. She pulled back. But I'm doing it anyway. Selena barely slept that night. She lay in Devin's guest room and thought about all the ways this could go wrong. Arrested. Shot by overzealous security. Ivy refusing to leave. Christopher catching them. But she also thought about Ivy's text. I can't marry him. I won't survive it. And she knew she'd walk through fire before she left that girl to suffer alone. At 6 a.m., her phone buzzed. A text from Lawrence. Lawrence, it's time. I'm outside. Selena dressed in the clothes Jake had provided. A professional blazer and slacks. A lanyard with fake credentials identifying her as representing Elise Bridal Couture. She looked like a harried wedding vendor dealing with a high-maintenance client. Perfect. She slipped out of Devin's house without waking anyone and got into Lawrence's car. Ready? He asked. No. But let's do it anyway. They drove north in silence, the city giving way to suburbs and then rolling countryside. The Thorne estate appeared like a fortress, high walls, security gates, the kind of place that broadcasts stay out with every architectural choice. Jake was waiting in a van a half-mile down the road. Comms check, he said, handing Selena an earpiece. Can you hear me? Loud and clear. Good. Remember, confident. You belong there. Any hesitation and they'll question you. Selena nodded. Lawrence grabbed her hand. Bring my daughter home. Count on it. Selena approached the service entrance at exactly 2:03 p.m. A guard stopped her. Credentials. She held up the fake ID. Elise Bridal. I'm here for Miss Beaumont's emergency fitting. The guard checked a tablet. Frowned. I don't have you on the list. Of course you don't. It's an emergency. The designer found an issue with the alterations this morning. Miss Beaumont needs to try on the dress before we can proceed. I need to verify. Please do. But I'm on a schedule, and if Miss Beaumont's wedding dress isn't perfect because you delayed me, I'm sure Mr. Thorne will be understanding. Selena let ice creep into her voice. The tone she used with difficult family members in the ER. The guard hesitated. In her ear, Jake's voice, jamming comms in The guard pressed his radio. Static. He tried again. More static. System's glitchy today, Selena said sympathetically. Solar flares or something. Look, I'll wait here while you physically verify with the main house if you want. But I'm billing Mr. Thorne for my time either way. The guard looked at her credentials again. At the professional-looking woman with the annoyed expression who clearly dealt with entitled rich people every day. Fine. East wing, 3rd floor. But you check in with the guards outside the room. Of course. He waved her through. Selena walked into the compound, her heart pounding so hard she was sure everyone could hear it. Good job, Jake's voice in her ear. Drin. Now move. She walked through corridors that screamed wealth. Marble floors. Original art. The kind of place where Ivy was supposed to live, slowly suffocating under the weight of luxury and control. 3rd floor. East wing. 2 guards outside room 3B, exactly as Ivy had said. Selena approached with practiced confidence. I'm here for Miss Beaumont. Dress fitting. There's been an issue that needs immediate attention. One guard knocked on the door. Miss Beaumont? There's someone here about your dress. The door opened. Ivy stood there, and for a moment, their eyes met. Ivy looked thin, exhausted. But when she saw Selena, hope blazed across her face so bright it hurt to look at. Thank God, Ivy breathed. I was so worried about the alterations. Let me grab my things. Miss Beaumont needs privacy for the fitting, Selena said to the guards. Designer's request. Too many people make clients self-conscious. We have orders not to leave her unattended, one guard said. I understand. But I also have a very expensive dress that needs to fit perfectly in 11 days. You're welcome to stand outside the room where we're doing the fitting. But hovering isn't helpful. Selena pulled out her phone, showed them a photo of a wedding dress Jake had found online. This is a $60,000 gown. Miss Beaumont needs to be comfortable trying it on. The guards exchanged glances. Where's the fitting? One finally asked. Service room on the 1st floor. By the kitchen. Good lighting, full-length mirrors. The lead guard spoke into his radio. Static again, Jake's jamming was still active. Fine, he said. But we accompany you. Of course. They moved through the house, Selena, Ivy, and 2 guards who had no idea they were part of a rescue mission. 1st floor. Service entrance in sight. In Selena's ear, vehicle ready. 30 seconds. The room's just through here, Selena said, gesturing to a door near the service entrance. She opened it. Supply closet. Wrong door, she said laughing. These rich people houses, I swear. Give me a second. The service entrance door burst open. Lawrence and Jake rushed in. The guards reached for weapons, but Jake was faster, taser in hand. Both guards went down, convulsing. Go! Jake shouted. Ivy grabbed Selena's hand and they ran. Out the service entrance. Into a waiting SUV. Lawrence floored it before the doors even closed. Behind them, alarms started blaring. They know, Jake said from the passenger seat. We've got maybe 2 minutes before they lock down the whole property. The main gate ahead was already closing. Hold on, Lawrence growled. He gunned the engine. The SUV crashed through the closing gate with a screech of metal on metal. And then they were through. On the open road. Flying toward freedom. Selena looked at Ivy, who was shaking and crying and laughing all at once. We did it, Ivy breathed. Oh my God, we actually did it. We did it, Selena confirmed, pulling her into a hug. In the front seat, Lawrence met his daughter's eyes in the rearview mirror. You okay, baby girl? I am now, Ivy said. They drove for 20 minutes in silence, everyone's adrenaline slowly coming down. Finally, Jake spoke. So that was fun. Anyone want to do it again? Despite everything, the fear, the risk, the insanity, they all laughed. Because they'd won. Against the odds, against the billionaires and the threats and the impossible situation, they'd actually won. Now they just had to make sure it stuck. They made it 15 miles before Lawrence's phone started ringing. Christopher's name flashed on the screen. "Don't answer it," Jake said. Lawrence answered it. "Put it on speaker. You just made the biggest mistake of your life." Christopher's voice was pure venom. "I have footage of you assaulting my security team. Breaking into my property. Kidnapping Ivy." "Kidnapping?" Lawrence's voice was steel. "My adult daughter who asked us to help her escape your compound where you were holding her against her will? She came willingly. I have proof. You have nothing." Actually, a new voice came through the phone. Female, crisp. "He has quite a bit." Christopher went silent. "Who the hell?" "My name is Amanda Jackie, Mr. Thorne. I'm an attorney representing both Lawrence Beaumont and his daughter Ivy. And I'm currently standing in front of a federal judge with a restraining order preventing you from contacting, approaching, or communicating with Ivy Beaumont in any way." "On what grounds?" "On the grounds that we have testimony from your former assistant, Rachel Kim, detailing a pattern of coercive behavior, unlawful imprisonment, and emotional abuse. We also have testimony from your ex-wife. She signed an NDA, which we've argued is invalid because it was signed under duress to conceal criminal behavior." Judge agreed. "She's prepared to testify about everything you did to her during your 9-month marriage." Amanda's voice carried the satisfaction of a predator who'd cornered prey. "We also have documentation of the SEC violations your subsidiary companies have been committing. The investigators are very interested in reopening those cases now that we've provided new evidence." Through the phone, Selena could hear Christopher's breathing get ragged. "You're bluffing." "Am I? Check your email. I just sent you copies of all the filings. You've got 24 hours to respond to the restraining order. After that, if you come within 500 feet of Ivy, you'll be arrested. My lawyers will destroy you. Your lawyers are about to be very busy defending you from federal charges. I'd save your money if I were you." Amanda paused. "Oh, and Mr. Thorne? That lawsuit you threatened against Lawrence for breach of contract? We're countersuing for attempted coercion, unlawful imprisonment, and about 6 other charges. Discovery is going to be very illuminating. I'll bury you. All of you. I have resources. So do we. The difference is we have the truth on our side." Amanda's voice turned sharp. "This is over, Christopher. You lost. And if you're smart, you'll take whatever deal the prosecutors offer and disappear quietly. Because if you push this, I will personally ensure that every news outlet in the country knows exactly what kind of monster you are." "You can't. I already have reporters on standby. Your choice. Slink away with whatever dignity you have left, or become the poster child for abusive, entitled rich boys who think they can buy human beings. What's it going to be?" Silence. Then, "This isn't over." The line went dead. In the SUV, everyone released a collective breath. "Who the hell is Amanda Jackie?" Selena asked. Lawrence smiled. "The best attorney in the state. I called her while you were inside getting Ivy. She's been working on this for the last 2 hours." "And the ex-wife? Rachel Kim? They really agreed to testify?" Once they knew they weren't alone, that other people were willing to stand up to Christopher, yes. Both of them are ready to go on record. Lawrence looked at Ivy in the rearview mirror. "He can't touch you now, baby. Legally, financially, anyway. You're protected." Ivy was crying, but this time from relief. "It's really over? It's really over." They went to a hotel outside the city, somewhere Christopher wouldn't think to look. Jake swept the rooms for bugs while Amanda arrived with a briefcase full of legal documents. She was a tiny Asian woman in her 40s with a sharp bob and sharper eyes that missed nothing. "Ivy Beaumont," she said, shaking Ivy's hand. "I've heard a lot about you. How are you holding up?" "I don't know. Still processing." Ivy looked at her father. "Is it really over? Christopher can't force me back?" "Not legally. The restraining order is ironclad. He comes near you, he goes to jail." Amanda sat down, pulled out papers. "But we need to talk about next steps. Christopher's going to fight this. His family has money and influence. This could get ugly. How ugly? Selena asked. Media circus. Character assassination. They'll paint Ivy as unstable, Lawrence as manipulative, and you, she looked at Selena, as an opportunist who took advantage of a vulnerable young woman. Let them try, Selena said. The truth is on our side. The truth doesn't always win in the court of public opinion. Amanda's expression softened. But it helps that we have Rachel and the ex-wife. Two women with similar stories creates a pattern. That's powerful. What about the SEC violations? Lawrence asked. Being referred to the U.S. Attorney's Office as we speak. Christopher's going to be dealing with federal investigators for the next year minimum. He won't have time or resources to come after Ivy. Ivy looked between all these people who'd mobilized to save her in a matter of hours. Why are you all doing this? You don't know me. Amanda smiled. Your father is paying me exceptionally well. I'm doing it because Christopher Thorne tossed me once during a security consultation and I've been waiting for payback ever since, Jake added cheerfully. Everyone looked at Selena. I'm doing it because your family, Selena said simply. And family protects family. Ivy crossed the room and pulled Selena into a fierce hug. I don't deserve you. Yeah, you do. You deserve people who see you as a person, not a prize. Don't ever forget that. That evening, while Ivy slept in the hotel room and Jake stood guard, Lawrence and Selena sat in the lobby bar nursing drinks neither of them was really drinking. I owe you an apology, Lawrence said quietly. For what? For judging you. When I first found out Ivy was staying with you, I assumed you were taking advantage of her. A struggling woman using my daughter for money. You weren't entirely wrong. I needed her rent. But you didn't need it enough to sell her out when we offered you $50,000. You didn't need it enough to abandon her when everything fell apart. Lawrence looked at her. You chose my daughter over your own security. That's not opportunism. That's love. Selena felt tears prick her eyes. She's a good kid. Scared and brave and so much stronger than she knows. Thanks to you. You gave her something I never could, the space to figure out who she is without expectations crushing her. Lawrence was quiet for a moment. I've been thinking about your house. Don't. Selena held up a hand. I don't want your charity. It's not charity. It's restitution. Lawrence pulled out his phone, showed her an email. I did some digging. The bank accelerated your foreclosure because they received calls from a Thorne Industries lawyer claiming you were involved in illegal activity. It was Christopher. He manipulated the bank into moving faster. Selena's hands clenched. That son of a is about to face a lawsuit for defamation and tortious interference. My lawyers are already drafting it. Lawrence met her eyes. We're going to get your house back, Selena. And we're going to make Christopher pay for what he did. The bank's already taken possession. Banks can reverse foreclosures when fraud is involved. This was a fraud. Christopher lied to pressure them into accelerating. That's illegal. Lawrence's voice carried absolute certainty. It'll take time. But I promise you, we will get your mother's house back. Selena wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to believe him. And my job. Administrative leave can become reinstatement when the allegations prove false. Which they are. I'm already in talks with the hospital board. You're on that board. I am. And I've made it very clear that if they don't reinstate you with back pay and a formal apology, Beaumont Industries donations will be going elsewhere. Lawrence smiled grimly. Sometimes having money and influence is useful. You're using your power to help me. I'm using my power to fix what Christopher broke. There's a difference. Selena looked at this man who'd gone from adversary to ally in the span of a week. Thank you. For everything. Thank you for not giving up on my daughter when I'd almost lost her completely. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Lawrence's phone buzzed. He looked at it and his expression changed. What? Selena asked. It's Amanda. Christopher's lawyers just responded to the restraining order. He read the message and a slow smile spread across his face. They're not fighting it. Christopher's agreed to the restraining order and he's dropping the breach of contract lawsuit. He's giving up? The SEC investigation spooked him. His lawyers are advising him to minimize exposure. Fighting us publicly would mean more scrutiny, more discovery, more chances for his crimes to surface. Lawrence looked up. He's retreating. We won. Selena felt the weight of the last week, hell, the last 2 months, start to lift off her shoulders. We actually won, she breathed. We did. Lawrence's phone buzzed again. This time his expression shifted to concern. What now? Christopher just released a statement. Lawrence turned the phone to show her. A press release from Thorne Industries. Statement regarding Ivy Beaumont. Christopher Thorne and the Thorne family announced the mutual dissolution of the engagement to Ivy Beaumont. We wish Ms. Beaumont well in her future endeavors. This matter is now closed and we will not be commenting further. It was clinical, dismissive, like Ivy had been a business deal that fell through. But it was also surrender. He's trying to save face, Selena said. Let him. As long as he stays away from Ivy, I don't care how he spins it. Selena's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. She opened it. Unknown, Ms. Brooks. This is Rachel Kim. Amanda Jackie gave me your number. I wanted to thank you for standing up to Christopher. For helping Ivy. I wish I'd had someone like you 5 years ago. You saved that girl's life. Never doubt that. Thank you. Selena showed Lawrence the message. You did save her life, he said quietly. I mean that literally. If Ivy had married Christopher, I don't think she would have survived it. Not as herself. She would have survived. But she would have been destroyed. There's a difference. Yes. There is. Lawrence stood. I should check on her. Make sure she's actually sleeping and not just pretending. He started to walk away, then turned back. Selena? When this is all settled, when Ivy's safe and your house is back and everything calms down, I'd like to stay in your life. In both your lives. If you'll let me. Selena smiled. I think Ivy would like that. I think I would too. But, because you're family now. Whether you like it or not. I like it just fine. 3 days later, the story exploded. Rachel Kim went public with her testimony about what she'd witnessed as Christopher's assistant. The ex-wife, a woman named Sophia Jackie, gave an interview to the New York Times detailing the 9 months of psychological abuse she'd endured. And the SEC announced a formal investigation into Thorne Industries for securities violations. Christopher's empire started to crumble. Stock prices dropped. Business partners distanced themselves. The golden boy of the tech world became toxic overnight. Ivy watched it unfold from the safety of a private apartment Lawrence had rented under a corporate name, somewhere she could stay without Christopher's people finding her. I should feel bad, Ivy said, watching the news coverage. But I don't. Good, Selena said. She'd been staying at the apartment too, partly for protection, partly because she and Ivy had become inseparable. He earned every bit of this. You think it'll stick? Or will his lawyers make it all go away? The SEC doesn't play games. And Rachel and Sophia going public means he can't hide anymore. Selena squeezed Ivy's hand. It'll stick. Ivy was quiet for a moment. Then, what happens now? For me, I can't access my trust fund until I'm 25 unless I comply with family terms. I don't have a degree. I don't have job experience. I'm basically starting from nothing. You're starting from freedom, Selena corrected. That's not nothing. But how do I build a life? A real life? One choice at a time. What do you want to do? If money and family expectations weren't a factor, what would make you happy? Ivy thought about it. I want to finish school. Art history. I want to work in a museum or a gallery. Something with art and history and beauty. She looked at Selena. Is that stupid? Is that too impractical? It's perfect. It's you. Dad will hate it. There's no money in art history. Your dad just spent a week committing felonies to rescue you from a forced marriage, Selena said dryly. I think he's come around on the whole, let Ivy make her own choices thing. As if summoned, Lawrence knocked on the apartment door. Selena let him in. He looked exhausted but satisfied. News? Ivy asked. The hospital board voted unanimously to reinstate Selena with back pay and a formal apology, Lawrence said. And the bank has agreed to reverse the foreclosure pending a full investigation into Christopher's interference. Your house, he looked at Selena, is yours again. Selena felt her knees go weak. My house. Your house. You can move back in within the week. Oh my God. Selena sat down hard. Mama's house. I'm getting Mama's house back. Ivy grabbed her in a hug, both of them crying. Lawrence watched them with soft eyes. There's more. Christopher's lawyers reached out. He wants to settle. Quietly. He'll pay damages to you, Selena, for the foreclosure interference. He'll release a public statement exonerating you of any wrongdoing. And he'll never contact Ivy again. Ever. What's the catch? Ivy asked. No catch. He's desperate to make this go away before the federal investigation destroys him completely. Taking the settlement is the smart move. How much is he offering Selena? Ivy asked. Lawrence looked uncomfortable. $200,000. Selena's brain short-circuited. I'm sorry, what? $200,000. Tax-free. As compensation for damages to your reputation, your employment, and your property. $200,000. Enough to save the house. Pay off the mortgage completely. Have security for the first time in years. That's blood money, Selena said slowly. That's justice, Lawrence corrected. He hurt you. He should pay for it. Selena looked at Ivy. What do you think? I think you've sacrificed everything for me. And I think you deserve to be compensated for what he put you through. Ivy's voice was firm. Take the money, Selena. Use it to rebuild. You've earned it. Okay, Selena breathed. Good. I'll take it. Lawrence smiled. Good. I'll tell Amanda to finalize the settlement. He started to leave, then paused. Ivy? Can we talk? Privately? Ivy looked nervous but nodded. Yeah. Okay. Selena excused herself to the bedroom, giving them space. Through the door, she could hear their voices, low, emotional, honest. Lawrence apologizing for years of control. Ivy explaining how suffocated she'd felt. Both of them crying. Both of them trying to find a way forward. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't a fairy tale reconciliation. But it was real. And it was a start. When Selena emerged an hour later, Lawrence and Ivy were sitting together on the couch, Ivy's head on her father's shoulder. We're going to do therapy, Ivy said. Together. To work through everything. That's good, Selena said. And Dad agreed to support me going back to school. For art history. Even though it's impractical and won't make money. Lawrence smiled ruefully. I'm learning that my daughter's happiness is worth more than a profitable career. Character growth. I like it, Selena teased. Don't get used to it. I'm still going to be annoyingly protective and interfering. Just less. I'll take less, Ivy said. They sat together, the three of them, in the apartment that had become a sanctuary. A broken family learning to heal. And the woman who'd chosen love over security and found both in the end. 6 months later, Selena stood in her kitchen, Mama's kitchen, and watched the morning sun pour through the window, illuminating the jasmine that bloomed wild and fragrant just outside. She was home. The foreclosure had been reversed. The settlement money had paid off the mortgage completely and funded repairs the house desperately needed. New roof. Updated plumbing. Fresh paint that still smelled like possibility. But more than that, it felt alive again. Coffee's ready. Ivy called from the living room. Selena smiled. Ivy had moved back in 3 months ago, after Lawrence had helped her re-enroll at the university. This time, though, it wasn't tenant and landlord. It was family. Ivy appeared in the doorway, holding 2 mugs, looking healthier than Selena had ever seen her. She'd gained back the weight she'd lost. Her smile came easier. The fear that used to live in her eyes had been replaced by something brighter. Big day, Ivy said, handing Selena a mug. You nervous? Terrified, Selena admitted. Today was her first day back at the hospital. Full reinstatement. The board had issued a formal apology that made the local news. Her supervisor Karen had called personally to welcome her back. It should have felt like victory. And it did. But it also felt vulnerable, walking back into a place that had let her go so easily. "You're going to be amazing," Ivy said firmly. "Those patients need you. The hospital needs you. And you're going to walk in there with your head high because you didn't do anything wrong." "When did you get so wise?" "I had a good teacher." Ivy squeezed her hand. "You've got this." The hospital felt different. Or maybe Selena felt different. Her colleagues greeted her warmly, some apologetic, others genuinely happy to see her back. Karen gave her the best assignments, seemed to be overcompensating for the administrative leave. By lunch, Selena had fallen back into the rhythm of nursing. The controlled chaos. The small victories of helping people through their worst days. This was who she was. Who she'd always been. Christopher Thorne hadn't taken that from her, no matter how hard he tried. During her break, Selena checked her phone. A text from Lawrence. "Lawrence, how's the first day back?" Selena, "Good. Exhausting." Lawrence, "Proud of you. Dinner tonight at my place?" Ivy mentioned you're both free. Selena, "We'll be there." Lawrence had become a fixture in their lives. Weekly dinners. Therapy sessions with Ivy that were slowly rebuilding their relationship. He'd loosened his grip on control, and in return, Ivy had let him back into her life. It wasn't perfect. There were still arguments. Still moments where Lawrence's protective instincts clashed with Ivy's independence. But they were trying. And that was everything. That evening, Selena and Ivy drove to Lawrence's house together. He answered the door in jeans and a sweater, looking more relaxed than Selena had ever seen him. Come in. I'm attempting to cook." He said it with self-deprecating humor. Attempting being the key word. The kitchen smelled like garlic and something burning. "Dad, did you forget to set a timer again?" Ivy rushed to the stove, salvaging what looked like chicken. "I was distracted by a work call." "No work calls during cooking." Ivy scolded, but she was laughing. Selena watched them move around the kitchen together, bickering affectionately, comfortable in a way they hadn't been 6 months ago, and felt her heart swell. This was what she'd fought for. Not just Ivy's freedom, but the chance for this family to heal. Over dinner, slightly burned chicken and vegetables that Lawrence had actually cooked himself, they caught up. Ivy talked about her classes. Art history and museum studies. She'd found her passion, and it showed in every word. She'd even landed an internship at the city's Contemporary Art Museum for the summer. "They're paying me," Ivy said, still sounding amazed. "Not much, but it's my money. Money I earned." "I'm so proud of you, baby girl," Lawrence said softly. "Thanks, Dad." The ease with which she said it, Dad, not father or Lawrence, spoke volumes about how far they'd come. Lawrence turned to Selena. "And you? How does it feel to be back?" "Like coming home," Selena said. "Scary and right at the same time. I heard the hospital's nominating you for a Nursing Excellence Award." Selena blinked. "What? No, they're not." "They are. Karen submitted the paperwork last week. Recognition for your patient care and dedication." Lawrence smiled. "Apparently going through hell and coming back stronger makes you award-worthy." "I didn't go through hell for an award." "We know. That's why you deserve it." After dinner, they sat in Lawrence's living room, the one with the photos of Rebecca and young Ivy on the mantel, and talked about everything and nothing. At one point, Lawrence cleared his throat. "I have something for both of you." He pulled out an envelope, handed it to Ivy. She opened it, read, and her eyes went wide. "Dad, this is access to your trust fund. Unrestricted. I had my lawyers remove all the compliance clauses." Lawrence's voice was steady but emotional. "It's your money. Your mother wanted you to have it. And I should never have used it as leverage to control you. I don't know what to say. Say you'll use it wisely. Say you'll invest it in your future. But say it's yours to choose." Lawrence looked at his daughter. "I trust you, Ivy. It took me too long to say that, but I do. I trust you to make your own decisions." Ivy crossed the room and hugged him, both of them crying. Selena looked away, giving them privacy, blinking back her own tears. When they separated, Lawrence pulled out a second envelope. Handed it to Selena. "What's this?" "Open it." Inside was a check. Made out to Selena Brooks. For $50,000. "Lawrence, I already got the settlement." "This isn't from the settlement. This is from me. Personal funds." Lawrence's voice was firm. "You lost your job, your house, your security because you protected my daughter. The settlement covered damages. This is gratitude. For showing Ivy what unconditional love looks like. For showing me what it means to put someone else's well-being above your own interests. I can't accept this." "You can. And you will. Because I'm a stubborn billionaire and I always get my way." He smiled. "Use it however you want. Travel. Save it. Donate it to charity. But take it. Please." Selena looked at the check. At the man who'd gone from adversary to family. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you," Lawrence countered. "For everything." 3 months later. The house was full. Devin and his family. Keisha from the hospital with her husband and kids. Lawrence. Ivy. Friends and neighbors who'd stood by Selena through everything. They'd gathered for a celebration. Multiple celebrations, really. Ivy's 23rd birthday. The 1-year anniversary of her moving into Selena's house. And the unveiling of Mama's memorial garden. A beautiful space Selena had created in the backyard using some of the settlement money, filled with jasmine and roses and a bench with a plaque that read, "Evelyn Brooks, she loved fiercely." "Speech," Devin called out, raising a glass. Selena stood, feeling self-conscious but loved. "I'm not good at speeches." "You're terrible at them," Keisha agreed. "Do it anyway." Selena laughed. "A year ago, I was drowning. I was about to lose everything my mother built. I was desperate and scared and I made a choice to rent out a room to a stranger." She looked at Ivy. "Best choice I ever made." Ivy wiped her eyes. "This year taught me that family isn't just blood. It's the people who show up when everything falls apart. It's the people who fight for you even when it costs them everything." Selena's voice thickened. "My mama used to say that love covers a multitude of sins. I think she was right. Love, real, unconditional, show up and fight for you love. That's what saves us." She raised her glass. "To family. The ones we're born into and the ones we choose. To second chances. To my mama, who taught me that kindness is never wasted. And to everyone in this room who reminded me that I'm never alone." "To family," everyone echoed. The party went late into the evening. Children ran through the garden. Adults laughed and shared stories. Lawrence and Devin discovered a mutual love of terrible golf and made plans to play. Ivy pulled Selena aside at one point, away from the noise. "I need to tell you something," Ivy said. "Okay. I've been accepted to a graduate program. Museum Studies. It's a 2-year program, here in the city." "Ivy, that's amazing. I want to stay here. In this house. With you. If that's okay." Ivy looked nervous. "I know I have my trust fund now, I could get my own place. But this feels like home." "You feel like home." Selena pulled her into a hug. "Of course it's okay. This is your home. For as long as you want it." "Even when I'm annoying?" "Especially then." They stood together in Mama's garden, surrounded by jasmine and roses and love. "You saved my life," Ivy said quietly. "You know that, right?" "You saved mine too," Selena replied. "I was so lost after Mama died. So focused on saving the house that I forgot what made it worth saving. You reminded me. You filled it with life again. So we saved each other." "Yeah, we did." Late that night, after everyone had gone home and Ivy had gone to bed, Selena sat alone in Mama's garden. The jasmine smelled like memory and hope. She thought about the woman she'd been a year ago. Desperate. Alone. Terrified of losing the last piece of her mother. She'd almost lost it anyway. Lost everything. But in the losing, she'd found something bigger. A family that transcended blood. A daughter who wasn't born to her but belonged to her anyway. A purpose beyond just surviving. Her phone buzzed. A text from Lawrence. "Lawrence, thank you for tonight. For welcoming me into your home, your life. I spent 5 years isolated by wealth and grief. You and Ivy brought me back to life. I'm grateful every day." Selena smiled and typed back, "Selena, that's what family does." She looked up at the stars, the same stars Mama used to point out when Selena was a girl, teaching her constellations and telling her she could be anything. "I did it, Mama," Selena whispered. "I saved your house. But more than that, I filled it with love. Just like you taught me." The jasmine rustled in the breeze, and Selena chose to believe it was Mama's way of saying she was proud. Inside, through the kitchen window, Selena could see Ivy moving around, probably making her nightly cup of tea. Her daughter. Not by blood, but by choice. Selena stood, brushed off her jeans, and headed inside. To the house that was saved. To the family that was chosen. To the life that was rebuilt from ashes into something beautiful. She'd started this journey renting a room to a stranger. She'd ended it with a daughter, a friend in Lawrence, and the unshakable knowledge that sometimes the family you choose is exactly the family you need. And that was everything. The end. So fam, what did you think? Did this story hit you in the feels? Drop a comment and let me know your favorite moment. Was it the rescue mission? The confrontation with Christopher? The found family moments? I want to hear from you. And if this story moved you, do me a favor. Share it with someone who needs to hear about the power of chosen family and unconditional love. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss a story. Because we've got more coming that will take you on emotional journeys you won't forget. Remember, family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's the people who show up when everything falls apart and fight for you anyway. Until next time, take care of each other. Love fiercely. And never underestimate the power of opening your door and your heart to someone who needs it. Peace and love, y'all. See you in the next story.